Hey folks, this should be a fairly short lesson. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about three acoustic guitars, what I call the big three: Taylor, Martin, and Gibson. And I'm going to talk about them in that order for a particular reason, so you'll see. But first of all, this is a Taylor 414 CE. At the time, I can't remember what I paid for it. I want to say probably about somewhere right around maybe $1,300. I'm sure they cost more, and it has the expression system in it, and you'll see that there's the volume, and then the low and the mid or the treble control on it. Comes with the strap button already came on it, and the advantage of this is that the way it comes. Is that it's really easy to change the battery on the pickup. So it has an active pickup in it. And so changing the battery is a fairly easy deal here. It just uses standard 9-volt. And the batteries last a pretty long time. And I don't know the details of the expression system, but I think what it has a combination of pickups that are all throughout the guitar. I think there's either like 3 or 5 points. So I think there's a pickup that's actually in the neck, and there's one that's under the saddle, and then they're around the on the inside of the top of the guitar. And I'll tell you what's the advantage of it. Here's the pros. The pros are that Taylor really makes their guitars to be very playable. The action, just right out of the factory, is really second to none. It's just a very easy guitar to play. And because I think the tops are fairly thin, I only put light gauge on these guitars, so I don't go with medium. So I forget whether I probably got 11s on this. You can tell that the strings are kind of old. I haven't really haven't changed them in a while, but it's a very easy guitar to play. And it's great for bluegrass type things. Let's see. I can get it down here to do that. Anyway, a lot of fancy stuff. But anyway, so what's the advantage? The advantage is that the neck is great. The tuners really work very well. Whatever the machine is on this, it's very well done. And what I mean by that is you can the gear ratio is such that it's very forgiving. You can turn it a lot and just have a little bit of adjustment in the tuning, unlike other guitars where just a little bit, and all of a sudden, and you're struggling to get in between. This one, you can really nail your intonation, and the tuners work, very nicely. This edge binding here is really smooth on the hand. The action on the strings, you can tell it's fairly low, but I don't get any kind of buzzing or anything like that. And the guitar is light. Another advantage is that as far as doing studio work or just doing home recording, it really lends itself very well to that. And I find that when I'm home, this is the guitar that sits in my living room. It's the one that if I get a thought in my head, I want to try to learn this song, I'll pick up this guitar. And I may play the song out live and do stuff with other guitars, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this seems to be the tool that I use in order to sort of just learn a song and get it down and just do it in my living room. And also, some guitars are better at this than others. It's really good with a capo. It doesn't seem to. Well, that wasn't good. Let's try that again. It seems to handle a capo really well without going out of tune. Anyway, that's what I like about it. Now, what don't I like about it? Basically, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that there are other guitars that do it better. One is that I don't think the expression system is really the best. I think the KK Mini and the Fishman do a better job than the expression system. And I understand that Taylor has kind of heard, some people may like it, but I understand that even Taylor's gone to a different system. So to me, it's not the best. It doesn't have the bottom, and there's a certain weakness to it. And if I was going to play out live, I would have to dial in the tone with some kind of effect, and it's not very bassy. It seems to be very trebly, and it's on the high end, and so that's the disadvantage. And the other disadvantage, and it's hard for me to describe. I can't really quite say, but there's something about if you go through the scale. So there's something about it where every note sounds the same. There's kind of like no dynamic in the tone. I don't want to say there's none. There's none. It's just that there's less than there is in other guitar. So if So when I dig in, I don't get something that I would get on another guitar. So that's the downside. But there's a trade-off. So no guitar does everything. I think that's a function of the fact that you use lighter strings, you got lower action, and it's very playable. So so that's really what you get the guitar for. So a lot of people who are just basically singer-songwriters want to play on stage, and the guitar is just the accompanying instrument. The Taylor is the guitar choice. And I got friends that have much more expensive Taylors, the 5 series or 7 series or even the 9 series, and that love them. So, but anyway, this is a Taylor, and notwithstanding everything I just said, I recommend it highly to anybody because to me it's a professional model. It's a professional level guitar, and it won't be a limiting factor for anybody. It'll do anything that that you want. The cons that I mentioned are just simply in comparison to other guitars, and you'll see that they have cons as well. They have pros, but then they also have cons. So anyway, this is the Taylor. Now let's go ahead and talk about guitar number 2. Guitar number 2 is the Venerable Martin, and this is the HD28, and that's because it's got this herringbone thing on the back here. This is not the vintage, but it's got the old-fashioned type neck, and this is stock. The only thing that I have done to it is that I did have the Fishman active matrix put in it, which means that it has a UST under saddle transducer here, which is a ceramic filament, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's going to be a battery in there. So I think that the Fishman sounds better than the expression system. The disadvantage is you got to take the strings off in order to get to the battery. Now the battery lasts a pretty long time. I mean, I can get almost a year's worth of use out of it. And if you were a professional musician, touring and all that, you would be changing your strings more often. I just don't change strings. I'm just lazy on it. But anyway, what do I like about the guitar? Well, first of all, I mean, to me, it's beautiful. This is, in my mind, this is what a guitar should look like. When you say guitar, this is the image, that I get. Beautiful. Adirondack spruce on the top, rosewood on the sides, and I think it's rosewood on the back, Indian. And what's nice about it is it's the classic bluegrass instrument. Yeah. Should I tune it up first? Alright, it's not really quite in tune, but it's close enough. But anyway, okay, so anyway, what I like about it is I think you'll hear right away that what I talked about before about all on the Taylor, the tones all being the same. Not true with the Martin. It's much more, you'll find that if I play soft and then all of a sudden I really dig in, I will get a different quality. So it has a very mid-rangey kind of a sound, and very much a desert island guitar. It really is my favorite, and I bought this. I think I bought this at Guitar Center, and these have got, all these guitars have cost more. I think I probably paid about $2,100 for it. I haven't done anything to it. It's basically stock, and when I bought it, I was struck by, as I played Diane had described it as like raindrops coming from heaven. See how we dig into that bass, you can hear it in. So anyway, and then also, and I keep getting back to the capo, because to me, now this guitar is 2.5 step down, and on this one I have mediums, which means I think I have 13s. I'm probably going to go to something a little bit lighter. I'm probably going to go to some 12s. I can get away with the 13s because I tend to stay a half step down. If you start getting mediums and you start going up to pitch, then you're going to get it. You're going to get the bridge lifting off the face, and you're going to get things that are going to be unglued. So I can get away with the mediums, but I'm kind of starting to evolve and go into lights because I can pick up the tone. Because mostly I play amplified, so I'm always playing through a sound system. So the tone, the projection that you lose with the lighter strings, you'll pick up in the amp anyway. Also, it does work very well with a capo. See how pleasant that is. And also, you can do the drop D thing. And it sounds pretty good now. So now there's about a limit to how far down you want to go with that. With, it's already 2.5 step down, so I think I'm at B or C. But anyway, but you want to hear how it sounds with the drop D, because you want to be able to play that. I love it. By the way, I think that these Planet Waves, I think that's not a Planet Waves, I'm sorry, it's a TC Helicon Polytune. These are the best tuners to get. They really, they grab the tone really, really well. I'll do it this way. I don't know if I can, it's very readable and it's spot on. I tune all my strings just a hair flat. And the reason for that is when you dig in, you shorten the string, it goes sharp. So if you do it slightly flat and you have a heavy hand, it'll actually be in tune, it'll be correct. But anyway, so that's the Polytune TC Helicon. But anyway, so that's the Martin, and I love it. This is a guitar that if you buy it, you get it, you'll pass it down to your children and you'll run into a burning building to retrieve it. Okay, next guitar is Gibson J45. Also tuned a half step down. Now I bought this at Guitar Center, and I can't remember this is probably about 2005. All these guitars I got about the same time. I went on a buying spree. I don't know what happened to me. But anyway, about 2005 I got this also. And when I bought it, I wasn't really looking for a guitar. I was actually looking for an amp. And I, in order to sort of audition the amp, I played this guitar, and it sounded so good that I ended up buying the guitar and the amp. I don't use the amp at all. I bought a big Fishman loud box, and I don't use them because I run through a board anyway. But anyway, so this is a Gibson J45 with I don't know what the top is. I think the top is mahogany. So I think it's mahogany and rosewood. And it came stock with pickups, and I think they're KK Minis. They're whatever Gibson would have put in back in that time, and they're a little bit different. I don't think there's an under the saddle ceramic piezo. I'm not sure about that. I think what's in there, because I haven't really looked at it, are 3 sort of stick-on, like Barkus Berry type of transducers that are glued to the inside of the guitar, and the sound is just fabulous. I go out and I play live, and people come up to me and they always ask me, what do you have in there? What is that thing just sounded absolutely great because it just booms out. Now it also has a battery. There's 2, you can kind of see it in there. So that's a pain in the neck. You have to take the strings off to get to the battery. But they last a pretty long time. My model does not come with the tone and the volume control on the inside. And I think it's unnecessary, and I wouldn't get it because there's a better application. You can get the volume and tone control, in the guitar cable that Taylor sells. But anyway, it's okay to get it if you do. Now, what did I do? The only change, there are a couple of changes. One of them is that I got rid of the El Cheapo plastic because it was the entry-level J45 when I bought it, so they just had the cheapest tuners on there. I went ahead and went for the Waverleys. It's big, heavy, solid tuners. I don't know if it changes the tone, but it sure is a lot easier to tune, and it holds the intonation a lot better. The other thing I did, of course, is that I went ahead and bought that sterling silver truss rod cover in there. I just wanted to get an ornament. That was probably about $300, but I bought it at Fur Piece Ranch, and I love it. I've tried to look for some more, and I can't find any more. And the other thing that I did is I put the strap button on it, and I don't know if you can see it. And here you'll see that there was a mistake. What happened is I was down in Key West, and I had to play with some people, and I needed to put a strap button on right away because I knew I was going to have to stand for 2 hours or something like that. So I went ahead and just with a screwdriver just drove this into the heel and neck, and then I found out that it was too close because if you, I don't know if I have one, but anyway, take my word for it. What'll happen is this. it has to be situated so that the strap button is in the right place. And I had it too close, so I couldn't get, because the strap. What happened is, you can see what happens is it was situated down there, and then it kind of got in the way, so I had to move it. So what I did is I had to kind of like undo it. I don't think I hurt the guitar, but I decided from then on, I'm just going to have a professional do that kind of thing. Just drill the hole in the guitar where it didn't belong. But now I am happy with it, and there are a couple of ways to put a strap button on. Some people do them on the back like this, and that's what you have. Well, I don't have it like that. I've seen some guitars like that, especially electrics, the Gibson electrics. I don't like that. I think it pulls the guitar in the wrong direction. It kind of wants to pull away from you. I think this is where it should be. You can, of course, mount it up here, but then the guitar seems to want to run away from you. The best place to put it is right there. And I don't know if you can see it. I went ahead and bought some of these. This one's cool. This is like some kind of rosewood thing or something like that. So I put that in myself. I don't recommend you do it. I recommend you go ahead and just pay a guy, a professional, to go ahead and do it, and he'll drill it in, and he'll do it right. Otherwise, you run the risk of splitting the wood. If that would be the worst thing you could do, is to drill in there and then all of a sudden develop a crack, which over the years will start to open up. I'm okay with this, but anyway, it works for me. And it sits comfortably. But anyway, so let's talk about the guitar. It has what I like about it. What I like about it is I just think the tone, to me, for my taste, is the best of the three, because I like a deep tone. That's just kind of my sensibility for the kind of thing that I play. That's with a drop D. Finger picks. It takes finger picks really well. Finger picks, because you got plastic and got metal. It can kind of sound clickety clackety on some guitars, but that's not a problem on this guitar. Well, I know you right. Miss me when I'm gone. I know you're right. Gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna roll my sweet baby till she's in my arms. And when you plug in a cord to that and have a little pedal board like an Aura processor and send it through a 500 watt powered mixer, it just booms all day long. Now, what's the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that it's heavy on the bass, so you have to sort of control the beast there and get it down to something that's a little bit more tolerable. If you plug it in, it does tend to feed back a lot, and especially down to the low notes. And the other thing, what I found is I have a little bit more trouble with the capo. Now, I also have mediums on this. I probably have 13s on it, so I'm going to go down to 12s. this guitar is in tune here. I said that. These guitars have been sitting in cases for a while. I haven't played them, so sorry about that, folks. But anyway, when you put a capo on it, I have found on this guitar, well, it doesn't sound bad. But to me, the intonation's off. Not bad, but it doesn't take a capo as well as the Gibson or the Taylor does. And when you put the capo up here, it does kind of seem like it deadens the tone. It doesn't ring out as much. Now some of that's the strings are old. That's the, you know, I'm hard pressed to find some cons, but I guess I had to find something. But anyway, of the three guitars, you know, in terms of price and quality, probably the Martin is the best, and probably the Taylor is the least expensive, and slightly lower quality. And that doesn't. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just talking about three really fine professional instruments. If I were to grade them, that's how I would grade them, and I would put this somewhere in the middle. However, that doesn't mean that doesn't translate to my preference. I mean, what guitar gets the most play? The answer is the Taylor gets the most play. It's just simply the easiest thing. It's like an old pair of jeans. Just it's just comfortable. When I go out live, I play this because you know, if I'm in a bar and I'm playing just mostly at open mics to, you know, a bunch of people talking and stuff, and I want to just hit them over the head with big tone, I go with this. And then just every once in a while, if I really want to do something that's more intricate, and I want to do some finger picking, and especially if I want to play lead, some acoustic lead to somebody else, then I will go with the Martin. You can play lead. You can certainly play lead on this. Just not as easy for me. Got these big fat strings, big action, and it's harder for me to play that than it is the Martin. It just lends itself to it better. But anyway, so that's it. Thanks, folks.